and starting with what was viewed as a statement game for whichever team would come out on top between the Cowboys and the Vikings. And the Cowboys left little question. A strip sack got the boys going early. The defense dominating with a season-high 7 sacks. Dak Prescott was outstanding, teaming up with Tony Pollard for the 68-yard showstopper. Pollard had 2 touchdowns. Zeke Elliott also had 2 touchdowns. The finishing touches here. Dallas scores the biggest road win in franchise history.
We had to come out here and make a statement. We heard all the noise. We heard everything, all the outside chatter, but we just stayed locked in, stayed in the room.
Defense did their thing. They gave them boys hell. Just got to, keep working and keep this ball rolling.
Right now, obviously, the challenge is handling success, and just having a game like this in the NFL is tough to do.
I think we've had adversity. We very easily could have some more adversity. But I sure do think that what I see out here right now is the team like that you could go get a Super Bowl win.
Okay, Jerry, the Cowboys dominated in all 3 phases yesterday. Last week, they gave up a 14-point lead. So, Boog, do you guys trust that this version of Dallas is here to stay?
Thank you, Suzu. We're going to try to figure this out. And, Steve, you brought up an interesting point earlier about the Dallas Cowboys. Are they more the team that blew the 14-point lead in Green Bay, or the team that dominated the Minnesota Vikings yesterday with an outstanding performance? RG?
Yeah, I think they're the team that dominated the Vikings, right? They walked in their trap, took over their trap. And the difference between the Cowboys in the last 2 weeks is one individual guy. It's Ezekiel Elliott. He is the key for them. When they run their offense through him, it allows Tony Pollard to truly flourish into who he is. They both had the same amount of carries, but Tony Pollard was the leading rusher and the leading receiver. They were in sync like Justin Timberlake out there, and it's because at the end of games, Tony Pollard no longer has to carry the burden of carrying the football 20 times like he did in the previous week. He can have his 15 carries, have his 6 catches, and when Dak is operating the way that he was in that game against the Vikings, 88% of his passes he completed. Right. There's not a team in the league that can beat the Cowboys.
I would push back by saying this. It doesn't matter to me who starts. Tony Pollard is their most explosive weapon out of the backfield. He needs more touches. I don't care who starts. Give Tony Pollard more touches.
Which one of these? You think it's going to the Vikings game, the Green Bay game?
I think it's more.
I think they're both.
Okay.
How so?
Because they're the team that never actually answers they said, look, we want to play consistent football.
Right.
We don't see consistent football. That team yesterday, I agree with Jerry Jones. That team would go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's not the team we see every week. I want to see it week after week. Now, I think that's their intent. But the Cowboy history is you get both. You get the Green Bay game and you get the Viking game. You got to live with both of them.
Steve, I don't know how you feel about this, Larry, but Ezekiel Elliott is their closer.
I don't agree with you.
I think he's their
Pollard
closer.
is the backup
that wasn't there.
2022 in this offense where it needs to go. It's Pollard is the guy that they need to run through.
No question.
To win games down the stretch after Thanksgiving, you need to get tough yardage inside. When you're playing in Philadelphia late in the season, it's inclement weather. When you're on the road and you need tough yards, you have to hand the ball off. Tony's not going to be able to get those tough yards. If you want him in the outfield, catch and pass.
I like Dak. The offense that I want to see Dak run is the offense that coming out of the huddle yesterday, very efficient, and put the ball in Dak's hands the way he's become a better football player. And when it comes to championship football against the Chiefs or against the 49 or against, you think, okay, against the Eagles, I agree with you. Yeah. What about all these high octane offenses that you have to score 40? It's Pollard.
But you can slow the game down, condense it down to make it more of a smash mouth football game.
Fair enough.
Play to the strengths of the team. We talk about how good their offense is.
There you go.
Talk about Dan Quinn's defense.
Preach.
They've given up the least amount of points out of any team in the league this year.
Yeah.
They caused 7 sacks, another turnover yesterday. They had success because they can get after the quarterback. And then when quarterbacks do throw it, they can get interceptions. They make it very, very difficult.
So they're the top team in the NFC right now.
Preach, Reverend.
I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they've had 2 games that are tough.
His point,
they can't match
not have a competitive game prior to that. They're finding out what kind of football team.
So we're not going to have recency bias just because the Cowboys dominated the Vikings, but they did look extremely great offense and defense.
RG, to Larry's point, he makes a great point about their defense. That defense we saw yesterday, when they get a lead, they know how to close you out. We thought that the Eagles defense and maybe this 49er defense was the best defense in the NFC. I'm not so sure it doesn't belong to the
But we thought they'd close them out last week against the Packers.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just,
so
again,
which team are they then?
I think they're both until proven different.
I have to make a point here. Like, they can be either team, but they scare me down the stretch.
I agree with that.
He makes decisions that he makes down the stretch. I've seen it over the last few years. he puts his team in a disadvantage. He puts his team in a disadvantage.
If the Cowboys can live to their potential, I'm all in. They underachieved to their potential consistently, and that's what I want to see
Susie
them
and Boog
change that narrative, please.
Susie and Boog asked the question. The question is, are the Cowboys the team we saw against the Vikings, or the team we saw against the Packers? They're the team against the Vikings. As long as Ezekiel Elliott stays healthy, it opens up their entire offense and allows their defense to play with the lead.
That's aspirational. I hope you're right.
But just like this segment, we see why the Dallas Cowboys are one of the more divisive topics in America. So, Susie, I don't envy you anytime the Cowboys topic comes up, because we couldn't figure it out here.
Oh, it's coming up next week again, I'm sure.
No doubt about that. Cowboys better keep it rolling. All 4 teams in the NFC East have winning records. The same can be said for the AFC East. So, Adam, as we hit your news and notes around the league, let's start in the AFC East with the Jets and trouble for the young quarterback.
Well, big news tonight is that the Jets head coach, Robert Saleh, came out and said he's not committing to Zach Wilson at this point in time. Not ready to make a full quarterback decision, but if you're saying that you're keeping everything on the table, as he did tonight, Susie, that tells you that he's considering going to either Mike White or Joe Flacco. The problems in the locker room and the reaction from Zach Wilson not taking accountability is real. As for the quarterback, the Jets will be going against Sunday. Justin Fields suffered a left shoulder injury yesterday. They're considering him day to day. Don't know exactly whether he'll be able to play this week. He injured the shoulder late in the 4th quarter. We'll see if he's able to practice on Wednesday. He's been as hot and as exciting as any player in all of football. And Odell Beckham Jr. is going to take his time this week. You see him rehabbing there. He's making his way back. He's interested in the Dallas Cowboys. He's interested in the New York Giants. He's interested in the Chiefs, the Bills, the 49ers even.
Wow.
There are some teams not planning to make a decision until after Thanksgiving. And speaking of Thanksgiving, here's a little preview for you, Susie. Great slate of games. Bills at the Lions, where Josh Allen hasn't lost on Thanksgiving. Giants at the Cowboys for the first time since '92 on Thanksgiving. And the Patriots play a battered Vikings team coming off a tough defeat yesterday. Patriots have not played on Thanksgiving in 10 years.
Nice slate. 5 teams with winning records playing on Thanksgiving. Coming up here on Monday Night Countdown, Robert thinks Josh Allen and the Bills got back to their winning formula in their win over the Browns. We'll head to the QB corner to break down what that means. And 49ers super fan Rita Carvalho has been drawing a picture of Jimmy Garoppolo every day for 8 months. Even his teammates have made appearances in the pictures.
Profile picture.
You're watching Monday Night Countdown